I'm Wade.
Creed.
And needless to say, it's been a while, but this is Slightly Mediocre, Season 2.
Welcome back.
We are pros. We have officially gone past one season. We have a whole season of fun stuff, as you have seen from previous videos, and there is more to come for the rest of the year.
Lots more.
So today, last video we talked a little bit about the original trilogy of Star Wars because, you know, we are a Star Wars based channel. We love Star Wars. Star Wars is who we are as people. So we're going to talk about the prequels. So last time was the original trilogy. This time is the prequel trilogy and kind of what we think about them. We should, according to Lucas and most other Star Wars people, we should be the generation that loves the prequels because, you know, those are the ones that came out when we were alive. So, you know, because I know Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out the year I was born.
Yeah.
And then Attack of the Clones came out shortly afterwards. And then the Revenge
Episode
of the
3,
Sith.
yeah.
Obviously, I went to go see in theaters. So, let's get into it.
So we're going to be starting off and like talking about, you know, the prequels, but just to preface, so we're going to, you know, talk about the movies themselves, but also we're going to talk about, you know, a little bit about the lore that was around them. This is, I guess, what Disney now would call the legacy Star Wars. So like, there's a canon and there's a legacy. So when Disney bought Star Wars, they, you know, drew a line, basically saying what's canon, what's not canon. What's canon is all the movies, of course, some of the TV shows, and a few of the books. A lot of the books, unfortunately, were kind of moved to the legacy. They weren't completely, you know, disregarded. They weren't completely thrown away, but they're now not official canon. They exist in the universe, but they're now a different universe of their own. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but the majority of the stuff will be about the movies. So like Wade said, we're going to talk about, you know, starting from Episode 1, A Phantom Menace. You know, when we first saw this movie, you know, it got a lot of heat and still gets a lot of heat.
It gets a ton of heat. You know, The Phantom Menace was something that, you know, we all wanted as Star Wars fans because, you know, we wanted to know where Darth Vader started, where Anakin, you know, was going, why Anakin was even, you know, a big deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, The Phantom Menace provided a good opening into the Star Wars universe. However, there were some great actors in it. There were. You know, Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, as a Padawan, which was really, really nice to see.
Samuel L. Jackson.
You have Samuel L. Jackson, of course. You know, so it was really good to see everyone in those kind of roles.
Yeah.
The main problem, and this is a problem amongst a lot of Star Wars fans, is Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
Personally, so Jar Jar Binks, the actual actor, nowadays gets so much heat, and it's really sad to see, you know, because it's not like he was in it for a paycheck. He wasn't really in it to, you know, be one of the most hated Star Wars characters of the entire universe. And, you know, I personally don't have that big of a deal with Jar Jar Binks. He doesn't have that many roles.
Yeah.
You know, I have more of an issue with the kid who plays Anakin, honestly.
He actually got bullied, man. The guy who played Anakin, he got bullied for his role.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and in school, that was his, I guess, one of his only movie roles, and like, because, you know, he was in, I guess, middle school at the time. Middle school, junior high, high school, he got bullied.
Oh, he got bullied for it? I mean,
which is unfortunate.
That makes me feel kind of bad for not liking him, but I still don't like him. You know, and then Natalie Portman as Queen Amidala / Padme was, I mean, like, I get the character development on that, but I feel like it was almost unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know, like it worked with the story, but they could have found a better way to do that. And, you know, the Darth Maul thing, like, I would have loved to see more of Darth Maul.
Yeah.
And we are, according to Solo.
And Clone Wars. I mean, if you all follow the Clone Wars TV show, which is, I guess, is canon, he has a fairly good role in that as well, you know. They kind of delve into, like, how he survived. And I guess that new show, Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, also kind of delved into Darth Maul. They brought him back. So he didn't have a big of a role in the movie, like in the big screen, but he was brought back. But now, like Wade said, they're bringing him back for a solo Star Wars story. So that's a spoiler. I apologize if y'all have not seen that by now. Like if you haven't.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it by now, then you're not going to see it.
Yeah. So I guess it's kind of past the spoiler point, but he is in that movie, or he has a role in it. So that's one thing. Like for me, like Wade said, Jar Jar Binks was one of the detractors for that film. Like he wasn't really I wasn't really perturbed by him. I was just more like slightly annoyed.
My thing is they didn't need to have Jar Jar talk like that. If he didn't talk like that,
yeah, I mean all the other Gungans talk just fine. They talk normal.
I mean, the King Gungan kind of was doing his like blah, 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 like his Nixon thing, right? Like, blah, right? But and then they still kind of did the Misa, but like they didn't need to do that.
Yeah, they didn't exaggerate it. Yeah.
And Jar Jar being the absolute buffoon that he is, it provided the comedic relief that it was supposed to when the movie first came out. But the thing is when diehard Star Wars fans like myself keep watching it, it gets tiresome. It's like it's like with Lord of the Rings. Whenever I watch Lord of the Rings, I skip through all the Frodo scenes because not only does it take about an hour off of the movie, but it's just it's pointless. I don't want to hear that whininess from Frodo.
Yeah, we'll talk more about whininess and a few more in the next two films.
We'll get into that.
For me, like Wade said, Jar Jar Binks was one of the detractors. Also, I don't know. I just wish they had more. They had a good amount of action. I like the action in there. The choreography was great, especially with the Darth Maul, the actor that played Darth Maul. I'm like, the man really knows how to do all those acrobatics, all those maneuvers, which is really great. So it made it really bring it to life.
And that's the thing about the prequels is they definitely have a lot more action and fight scenes and everything like that. What we kind of wanted to see from the original trilogy, but didn't really get because Lucas didn't really know what he was doing.
Yeah.
And he was still feeling out his abilities.
Yeah.
Of course, with the updated technology, when the prequels came out, he was able to do a little more special effects, a little more action, everything like that. So that definitely helped.
Yeah. That leads to another thing too. One of the bigger detractors for these films was the use of CGI. The heavy use of CGI. Some diehard fans weren't too keen on that. They like the original trilogy that we talked about earlier. We had actual props, actual things that were built like miniature things to make it make the battle scenes happen. So they didn't have that in the prequels as much, if not at all. They just used mainly CGI with having a new technology.
The prequels, so in Phantom Menace, from what I remember, they still had decent amounts of models.
Okay.
But like puppet-wise, they still had all the puppets.
Yeah.
But they definitely had a lot of CGI in it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but with technology at the rate it's at, this is part of the things that we get when we're filming in a garage because we're slightly mediocre.
We've been interrupted.
Yeah.
So, to go back to what we were saying.
Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties. As usual.
That's what you get when you film in a garage and. That's your studio.
Yeah, slightly mediocre.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking it one step at a time because, we just got our lighting this season. So
big baller brand now.
Yeah, so
moving up in the world.
Yeah, maybe we go with studio next.
But yeah, so to continue, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Like I said before, wasn't bad. They good cast of actors. You got Ewan McGregor reprising his role. You got Samuel L. Jackson again. You got Padme Amidala, played by Natalie Portman, and then there's Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker. So, what we were saying earlier about the whining, nothing against Hayden Christensen. I'm like, he's a great actor. For the most part.
Has he been in anything since Star Wars?
I think he's actually retired now. He has a family. As I heard, he's like just taking a step back from acting.
I mean, that seems to be what a lot.
It might be, it might be for the best, but in our opinion, like, not to throw some shade, pun intended. But for him, that was the thing. Like with that role, Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like a Skywalker trait, but all the Skywalkers whine so darn much. You know, Luke was just whiny. Oh, I want to go to I don't want to go to Dagobah. Oh, you know, we're gonna go to Cloud City.
I
Save
can't
Han.
do it, Master Yoda. It's too
big.
heavy.
So, you know, I guess that's just a Skywalker trait, but he did play the role pretty well. You know, it showed like how Anakin had, you know, two sides to him. He was like, you know, the caring guy for his family, like the brother to Obi-Wan, and then he had that dark side when it came to people that, you know, that he cared about, like his wife or his mother. And that was also showcased in Episode 3, you know, Revenge of the Sith. You know, how he became Darth Vader, which was really neat. How, you know, showed the development of the character. And for both films, you know, all three films actually, I really enjoyed the action sequences, especially in the major battles, because, you know, it is Star Wars. For those people that complain like, oh, why is there so much fighting? It's in the name. It's in the name, people. It's not like
It's a war among the stars.
it's not star baking, like they're like baking food, or making food or whatever. It's just Star Wars. It's about fighting and about battles that happen in space.
Yeah.
In a fictional universe. But
Well, no, in a galaxy far, far away.
correction, yes. So, you know, the action sequences were not bad at all. I enjoyed them. The acting was not bad. You know, the use of CGI was, you know, a little bit more pervasive, but it wasn't overbearing. What do you think, Wade?
So as I was saying, the CGI and all the prequels just kind of dates itself. You know, because like if you watch a movie from, let's say, early 1990s,
Okay.
like I watched Spawn the other day.
Okay.
All right. For those of you that have seen Spawn, back in the day, special effects were on point. Like these things were the top of the line graphics,
Yeah.
special effects, the whole deal. You watch it today,
It's kind of hard.
it's awful. It's so terrible. It looks like a screensaver on a Windows 95 machine.
Oof.
It's terrible.
Oof.
It's honestly terrible.
Oof.
So, you know, the CGI, like, when I go back and watch the Star Wars movies, I kind of have a problem with it. Like, I'm glad that it's not in a lot of scenes.
Yeah,
and it's not extended scenes, but like like it just bothers me because it's so dated and gross looking.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith is the only one where, you know, the CGI is actually decent.
Yeah, because it's newer.
It's the newest one out of them. You know, and the technology hasn't really changed too terribly much since then. I mean, it has, but like as far as looks goes, like they got about as realistic as you can get.
Yeah.
And you know, episode 2, it's I have issues with it because like Obi-Wan, I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
I feel like it fits well.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing is when they're going to, you know, when Obi-Wan meets Boba Fett or Jango Fett for the first time.
Okay.
Right. And then on Camino, and then you have, you know, like the whole process of finding Camino in the first place, and you know, he's talking to Yoda, and then you know, the youngling comes in and says his 2 cents and everything like that, and you know, it's just like the storyline, like it fits, but it has you wondering more, and then like I feel like all the holes aren't quite filled. You know, like we don't know why those clones were even being made. You know, like we know a Jedi Master went over there and you know put the order in, but it's like, okay, and then like Dooku, you know, like what's his deal? Like, so, you know,
this is like where the lore comes in, you know, which is why I'm a big proponent for like keeping you know, all the Star Wars lore as canon, you know. Because, you know, to add on different books, different novels that were, you know, approved at the time by Star Wars licensing as part of the storyline, as part of the canon, they delved into that. So, like, you know, just a brief background for those of you who don't know, for the creation of the Clone Army was created by that Jedi Master Sifo-Dyas at the request of, you know, Count Dooku. Count Dooku helped, you know, he was like the man behind the curtain. He was, you know, the puppeteer. Him and Darth Sidious were the ones pulling the strings to make sure that there was this big army being made that eventually would meet their needs. So, like, you know, each clone was implanted with a chip that when Order 66 came about, they would turn on the Jedi and pretty much just wipe out the Order. So that's how The Sith would eventually get their revenge, hence the title, Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah.
Revenge on the Jedi, by completely eradicating the Order, and they wouldn't even suspect it. So that was the whole premise of the whole clone army. And like Wade said, that wasn't really delved into as much in the film, but in the novels and some of the other shows, it was more. There was more in-depth built up to it, more build up and explanations.
Yeah, and like in the novels and shows and everything like that, like that's great. But I would love to see a movie between episode 1 and episode 2.
Yeah,
That would be excellent because I would also love to see a movie between episode 2 and episode 3 because, the opening scene of episode 3 is Anakin and Obi-Wan doing like this banter back and forth about like past adventures and stuff. And honestly, those sound way more fun than Obi-Wan tracking Grievous through the galaxy.
I think I agree for a movie or some kind of show between episode 1 and 2 to show the adventures of young Anakin and Obi-Wan.
I would love
showing
to see
like the growth of Obi-Wan as a master and Anakin growing, becoming the Padawan he is in episode 2. But between 2 and 3, I guess what would fit that bill would be the Clone Wars, the TV show. That shows all the adventures between Obi-Wan and Anakin. They even have that mini-series, which I'm not entirely sure if it's canon anymore. It might be, but I think it was replaced by the actual full-on Clone Wars series, which will be coming back, actually. So Disney just announced a few months ago that they'll be bringing it back. And I guess putting it, because it didn't really, when it ended on kind of like without closure, because when Disney acquired Star Wars, they just axed a few things, and one of the things they got hit by the axe was the Clone Wars TV show. So they had like these unfinished episodes, which they released as part of the box set. But the Disney now has said they're going to make full episodes. They're going to put those episodes into the works and release them out as full CGI episodes. So that'll be great. So Wade said, there will be more like explanation of what happened between episode 2 and at the start of the battle of episode 3 with the battle for Coruscant.
Yeah,
and that's kind of good. That's kind of cool.
And that would be great to see. But I feel like what Disney should have done instead of going off of the original trilogy with 7 and 8 and the Solo movie and Rogue One, what they should have done is filled in the gaps of the prequels.
I agree.
To keep the newer crowd more interested because those are the ones that have most recently been released. Now, they are going off the nostalgia. I get that when they were going with, 7, 8, Han Solo and the Rogue One movies. But, the thing is honestly, I feel like that would have been not only a better business move, but it would have been a little better. I feel like they would have gained more fans like that and not be hitting the criticism that they're getting right now. Because there's actually been articles released that Disney's going to be like shutting down and putting a halt to all Star Wars things for a while, kind of indefinitely. They didn't really get that great of a reception for The Last Jedi. They didn't get that great of a reception for Solo. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah, Solo was great. Yeah,
it's just. They're not getting a great reception, and it's really unfortunate because that affects a lot of different things. They're not doing Lego Star Wars Day anymore. No. This is going to be the last year of it for a while until they figure out what to do. And it's a shame because they spent $6 billion on the franchise. So what's stopping them? And they're just like, oh, we're going to hold off until people kind of pique their interest again and want more Star Wars movies before we release them. And it's a business thing, which is, kind of crappy, but, I understand it, but, put out better movies if you guys want people to
hopefully they, take this time to, counter losses and see, what they did wrong.
And not get crappy directors.
Yeah, get a good director on the line, get a good storyline written.
And not have crappy,
Don't just pound out movies just for the sake of, getting a big buck,
I mean, that's what they've been doing with Marvel. They've just been
working, though.
It's
been working with Marvel.
Been working with Marvel because
they got good directors.
Well, they have good directors. They have good storylines, and overall, in all reality, they don't need to have that great of a storyline if they follow the fucking comics.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So like like you don't need a rocket scientist to make a good movie when it comes to Marvel.
Yeah.
When it comes to Star Wars, like it's a total figment of George Lucas's imagination.
And like
so it takes a little more finesse to make a good movie with it, and like, not just reboot it over.
Oh no, I agree. And well, what's a shame with like 7 and 8, with like I said, with the whole lore, they had amazing stories written post episode 6, and you just scrapped them and said, "Oh, this is a different storyline," which is subpar in my opinion compared to the storylines that were written in the books.
The unfortunate thing is like they try like. You see that in Last Jedi, where they start to kind of go back into the lore of like Luke doing his Jedi school and everything like that. But like it was too late at that point.
Too little, too late.
We're talking about the prequels.
Yeah. So all in all, to wrap up, the prequels were great. I really enjoyed them like growing up when I was little, watching them. Watching them now, the CGI is dated. The use of it kind of shows. Jar Jar's will always annoy me no matter what. Just watching him annoys me. But they weren't bad. Some of the acting could have been better, but for the most part, the acting choices were great. Ewan McGregor's a great actor. Same with Samuel L. Jackson.
Ewan was an awesome choice for Obi-Wan.
And I heard that they might be making the Obi-Wan standalone film. I don't know how official that is, but I really hope...
I mean, with what we just talked about of, Disney putting a hold on Star Wars, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Same with Boba Fett.
But I do know that Ewan McGregor did express interest in saying if they do make a standalone
he'd be
Obi-Wan,
awesome.
He said he would be open to
He is
doing
the perfect person.
Yeah, he is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said before in the previous season, this is just our 2 cents, our opinions on it. This isn't cold hard facts. There are some hard facts here, but for the majority of it, these are just our opinions. Let us know in the comments below what y'all think, what we should review next, what y'all want us to review next, and let us know how you all thought about the prequels.
Yeah.
And once again, this is Slightly Mediocre,
where we keep the status low so you don't have your... I forget what I said.
We're slightly mediocre. Yeah, don't get your hopes up. See you next time.
Yep.